Y'all ain't gonna believe this. The last shot that I'm ever gonna do is Franklin Saint. Can you believe that? Crazy, right? 8 years. 8 years I gave this show. 8 years. I was 23 years old. I gave you everything. So if you don't like it, there's nothing I can do about it. Cause I can honestly, hand on my heart, look up to God and say, I gave everything. It's probably the last time y'all gonna hear Franklin accent talking on live. Actually is. So it's actually probably gonna be the last time I ever use this accent. So I'm saying on Instagram Live, goodbye, Franklin. Thanks for watching. Peace. I built it. And if I want to tear it all down, then that's what I'm gonna do.
What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Mark Dark, and I'm back with another video. If you're new, if you love Snowfall, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Like the video and leave your theories, comments, everything down below. Now today we're going to be talking about Snowfall Season 6, Episode 10, the series finale. This is the recap, the final recap of this series, man. And it's been a hell of a journey. I know a lot of people got a lot to say about the series finale. We got some people that's happy about the finale, some people that's, upset, saying that Franklin should have never went out the way he did. But as I told you guys, I wanted to see something different. And in this episode, that's exactly what they gave us. They did not give us that typical ending that we see in a show like this, as far as the main character going to prison or end up getting killed off. Franklin Saint's ending was damn near worse. I mean, he lost everything. The people that he loved, all of his money, and he lost his damn mind. We've seen that especially this season and especially throughout these last few episodes. I mean, he was on one. And, the people that he was close to, they tried to help him out, tried to, tell him certain things to do. He didn't want to listen. All he wanted was that 73 million, and it got the best of him, y'all. I mean, I wanted to see him go out in a better way. It was sad, but if you go back to the very beginning of this series, and all the true Snowfall fans know what I'm talking about. You go back to the very beginning of the series and you understand that Franklin basically became his pops. I mean, we got like a different version of that out of him, but that's basically what he became. It was crazy to see it, end up the way it did. That's something that he probably feared. I mean, we saw the tears come out of his eyes in that very first episode of this series when he saw his pops out there on the street when Aunt Louie told him, "Do you want to talk to him?" And Franklin was like, "Nah, I'm good. Just drive the car." And we saw that tear come down his eyes. His pops was a drunk, a bum. And that's exactly what Franklin became by the end of this series. They played that Kendrick Lamar pride, and that represented exactly, what Franklin was going through, and of course his downfall. But y'all let me know, what do y'all think about this episode? I told you guys I am happy that I couldn't predict everything. I don't like seeing stuff that I can predict all the time. I told you guys in my final predictions video that I had a feeling it was going to be some type of surprise factors in this episode, and that's exactly what we got. And it was crazy because we know Franklin, he ended up only having around $12,000 at the end of the episode that was in that safe. And at the very beginning of this series, in that first episode, we know Franklin sold that key of cocaine for $12,000. So he pretty much got what he started with, which I believe was a hint towards that first episode. They were just showing the parallels between the two. And one of my subs pointed out that they kind of threw in a jab as far as how the fans was feeling or would feel about this episode by Franklin telling Leon, "Do you really want this to end like this?" And Leon told him, "No." You know what I'm saying? I didn't necessarily want to see Franklin go out the way he did, but as I told you guys in the past, I also didn't want to predict him going to jail or being taken out. I wanted it to be some type of twist within, the ending of this story, and that's exactly what they end up giving us. And they did, throw a little Easter egg in there to your boy John Singleton with the boys in the hood out there filming. I'm like, man, it's crazy that this show is coming to an end. But as I always tell you guys, I am very happy about the new spinoff that they're going to be working on, and seeing how Wanda, Leon, Louis, and Gustavo all survived and how they showed us, some of their stories in this episode. I believe besides Wanda, we will see Leon, Louis, and Gustavo in that spinoff. That's what I'm hoping for. Of course, they didn't give us all the information about the spinoff because the show was still airing up until now. But don't be surprised within the upcoming weeks that we get some new information about who will all be in this spinoff and more details about what the spinoff is going to be based off of. But let's hop right into it, man. Snowfall Season 6, Episode 10, the series finale. This is the recap. I'm going to try my best to focus on all the key points in this episode. If I miss anything, you guys let me know down below. Now, the episode starts out with Franklin at the bar. He's lost it. Not only the money, but his mind. And he is starting to drink. They're setting up the plot of his ending, showing us that he's picking up the habit of being a damn drunk. He's stressed out. He ain't got no more money. He's losing it all, right? So he calls Veronique, tells her that Sissy, she took out Teddy. She played him, and he can't believe it. We know Veronique was telling him, like, look, just calm down, come back home. Just come back home. We can figure this out. And to be honest, guys, maybe Franklin should have listened to Veronique as far as, what they could have been doing, because she's very smart. We know she knows how to get this money. And if he would have just listened to her, maybe, and to be honest, ain't no maybe, he could have just had more. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't do it. He decided to do what he wanted to do. And he didn't take any advice from nobody, especially the people that was there for him. Now, the look in Franklin's eyes after he got off the phone with Veronique was priceless. I mean, he was like, man, what can I do? I have to figure out something right now. So he calls Haymeyer and he has a conversation with him. He is telling Franklin, like, look, if you do not want to go to jail for the rest of your life, I need you to drop off Ruben in this disclosed, location right now. Drop him off and just get the hell up out of there. So Franklin, he didn't waste any time. He goes, he picks up Ruben. Ruben is telling him, you cannot trust the CIA. Now, when this was airing out, I thought we was going to see more of Ruben. I thought it was going to be, a little bit longer. But Franklin said, nope, I'm dropping you off. I'm getting rid of you. I'm getting the CIA off my back. And crazy enough, he was able to do this, y'all. And, I predicted that he would have issues with the government. In this episode, it didn't seem like that was the case. I know he did mention to Leon that he called the CIA later on or whatever. But as far as them, putting him away, that didn't happen. He was good as far as being locked up, which was crazy. Which lets us know that they didn't really have anything on him like that. And they wasn't really willing to risk trying to take him down, knowing that he had, the potential to expose some things about them. Now, we get to your boy Leon. He's talking to his crew. Einstein is there as well. He is telling them, like, look, we need a new connect. We pretty much lost what we had, and now it's time to step up. Now, he has a conversation with Franklin, and Franklin wants to know, how much money did you get? I know you gave me that $500K before, but now I'm going to need a little bit more. And Leon, he was honest. I mean, if I was Leon, I would have been like, man, I'm broke, man. I ain't got nothing for real. But Leon told him, like, look, man, I got about $3 million. Franklin was happy as hell, like, bet, I'm going to need all of that. And then he was telling Leon that he can set him up as far as investing within the properties, and he's going to pay him back triple and all that down the line. Leon ain't trying to hear any of that. He's like, nah, man, I'm good. And Leon asked him, like, why do you think your mom did what she did? Franklin was like, man, she lost it. I don't know. And Leon's like, look, man, she sacrificed herself for you, for all of us. And she didn't want you to have this money. I'm not about to give you no money, man. It's just not about to happen. Your boy Franklin, he loses it. He's like, really? Like, I'm the reason why y'all got money in the first place. And Leon tells him, it's blood money. If I could give it back, I would. Franklin tells him, well, give it back then. And we know Leon tells him he cannot do that, right? And Franklin talking about, if you don't give it back, I'm going to take it. And then we see the crew, they pop up behind Franklin, and he realizes, like, man, I ain't about to do nothing, because if I try something, they going to take me out. He tells Leon, like, look, is this how you want this to end? And Leon tells him, no. So like I told you guys, it goes back to maybe the fans didn't want this story to end like this, but it is what it is. This is how they wanted it to end. And now we just got to sit back and deal with it and see what's going to happen next. But you can really tell this got to Leon. He didn't want to do this, but he got to protect himself and his money. And the way that Franklin is moving, if Leon would have gave him anything, I believe he would have screwed it up. I think he was just out of his mind ever since he lost that 73 M's. I mean, he's not in the right state of mind, and he would have continued to just destroy everything that was around him, including any money that Leon would have gave him, in my opinion. Now we get to court and Sissy does not waste any time. She exposes the CIA and Teddy, talking about how they use cocaine to flood these streets, use the money to fund this war, and the judge, he's pissed off. He ain't trying to hear anything about that. He's, telling her she's going to get no bail, and we know they're talking about her getting life in prison, and Franklin is like, man, you know what I'm saying? I can't believe she really did this. And we know he's going to have a conversation with her later on in the episode. Now, Detective Stern thought it was a good idea to talk to Franklin, talking about, look, I heard you was at the crime scene. I mean, I know what you're all about. And Franklin is like, okay, if you got anything on me, do something then. You know what I'm saying? You're talking all this stuff, do something. And you can tell that he really wanted to do something, but he couldn't. They didn't have anything on Franklin. And Franklin told him he's an Uncle Tom. Like, dang, I know this dude was all up in his feelings. Now, I want to know if we're going to see this Detective Stern in the spinoff. We shall see. Now, we get to your girl, Wanda, and we know she going to be in that spinoff, and most likely Leon. She is telling him, do you think Franklin's going to come back for you? He says no. He thinks they're good. And Wanda's like, look, I'm done with all this. You know what I'm saying? I'm going back to Ghana. I got to get the hell up out of here. And she was hoping that Leon would stop her or say, okay, I'm gonna go with you. But Leon is like, okay, it is what it is. He gives her some money to go along with her trip. And Wanda, she's upset, like, man, I can't believe you just gonna let me go. Like, come on. But Leon understands what time it is. He wants to stay there and continue this mission to save people. But after having that conversation with Sissy, we know Leon is going to change his game plan. Now, we get to Franklin and he goes to see his moms, and he's telling her that no one pleads guilty to something like this. And he's telling her, like, look, you should request new counsel. Tell them that you lost your mind, and based off what you've done, they will believe you. And he wants to know, why did she do what she's done? You know what I'm saying? As far as taking out Teddy, and, he's telling her, you could have at least waited 10 seconds. And he was pissed off. He wants to know what's going on. And Sissy's like, look, I ain't saying nothing to you. Once Franklin start cussing, she's like, nah, I'm going to hang up the phone and I'm getting up out of here. Sissy was probably thinking like, man, I should have just popped him too when I took out Teddy. That way, I wouldn't have to worry about him running his mouth to me right now. But it is what it is. We know Franklin went out in a crazy way. I mean, it was like dying, but living through hell. Now, we get to Paul Davis. He is back, and he's talking about buying, Franklin's stake in the property. And Franklin is confused, like, really? Like, who in the hell did this or told you this? And he tells him, like, look, your partner reached out to me. And Franklin was pissed off because now he understands that Veronique went behind his back to make this potential offer. And he does confront her later on in the episode. But he tells Paul Davis, nah, he's good. Pretty much get the hell up out of here. Now he goes to Veronique. He's, got this grin on his face. He's pissed off as far as what she's done. She is telling him that she's been trying to reach out to him. She was not, able to get in contact with him. And she's telling him that she was just testing the waters. She wanted to see what they could get if they were to sell that downtown property. Franklin is not having it. Now, when you actually think about it, this idea probably was good. You know what I'm saying? Especially based off how Franklin ended. But we know Franklin's pride, his ego, it got the best of him. And instead, he decided to sell the South Central properties, and he ended up selling to his mom's old boss. Veronique was pissed off, like, really? Like, what are you doing? We're pretty much screwed by you doing this. But Franklin doesn't give a damn about what she's talking about at all. And he tells her, don't you ever go behind my back again. And he, grabs her up by the neck. And she's like, look, get off me. She's not having it. And I knew once Franklin did this, it was over. I knew Veronique was going to listen to what her mom said. and that was to create another game plan just in case this does not go down the way you're planning it to go. But Franklin told Veronique, I built this, and if I want to tear it down, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I mean, this dude was on one, as I told y'all. As you watch this episode, each scene you see Franklin Saint in, his character gets darker and darker and darker, and it's just crazy how everything ended by the time we saw that last scene with him. Now Leon goes to see Sissy. He is telling her that they're praising you in the hood. They're proud of what you've done. You're pretty much a hero. He tells her that he's funding the shelter since she's locked up. And Sissy is happy about this. Now she does ask him about Wanda and how she's feeling about all of this stuff that's going down. He tells her Wanda, she left and went to Ghana. And Sissy, she kind of got upset. She's like, look, I appreciate everything that you're doing, but I don't like how you're doing it. You need to pack up some books in the suitcase and get the hell up out of here. Go to your wife in Ghana. And then you need to figure out what you want to do with your life. Find your purpose, right? And Leon, he's like, man, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I should be going to Ghana. Hell, this is what the fans have been saying since the end of last season. Just stay. Don't come back. But he did come back. He tried to, fix some things, but it's still a lot going on. And we know Leon, he ended up going with his wife to Ghana, and he does come back at the very end of the episode, which I believe it was like 3 years later. Now, Franklin is having him a little old drinky drink. He's already in his feelings. He's stressed out. He needs to figure out a way to get whatever he has left and try to invest it and make more. He goes to the bank and he finds out some crazy news. And your girl Veronique, she done went behind his back once again. This time she takes the 800,000 plus that he had left and she got the hell up out of here, y'all. He was so pissed off he could not believe it. But as I told you guys, once he put his hands around Veronique's neck, she wasn't about to be dealing with this dude at all. And if he never did that, things could have played out a little bit different, in my opinion. It's just crazy to see how his story ended and him dealing with the government. All those years went by, he was never locked up, which makes me believe if he would have just listened to Veronique, he would have been good long term, but he decided to do things his way. And he taking that whiskey to the head. He ain't playing around because that stress is getting a little bit more vicious, right? And he goes to see Sissy once again. And when they show her, I'm thinking like, okay, now who gonna go see her? Well, it's Franklin once again. He's telling her like, look, I need you to sign over the house to me. I need to sell it, please. And she once again ain't saying nothing to this dude. She's just looking at him. Franklin needs whatever he can get. He's telling her how Veronique pretty much robbed him and left with the money, and he's losing it. But your girl Sissy, she ain't about that life. She ain't giving this man nothing. She's doing nothing for him. She is tired of Franklin, y'all. And Franklin tells her, this is all your fault. Like, why would you do this to me? He blames her for everything. He's talking about Teddy should have just blew her head off and stuff. And he's calling her out of her name. And I mean, he's going off, y'all. Y'all know how Franklin, when he get in that zone and he got that liquor up in him, oh, he is going off. And they had to get him up out of there. Sissy just looks at him and walks away. And as I told y'all, this is a prime example of him getting darker and darker and going to a place where he can't return. And it's just sad to see it end like this for him. And he's telling her, you did this to me. You ended my life. I mean, he told her this, right? And like I said, down below, you guys, y'all can debate if y'all believe Sissy did the right thing or did she do the wrong thing? If she would have just waited 10 more seconds, I mean, I guess this whole story would be different, but I guess we would never know. Now, we go to 3 months in advance or whatever, so we starting to get, a push towards the future, and we see, once again, the bottle on the table. Franklin's been drinking. He's stressed out. He's on the phone with the loan officer, and apparently, he ain't got the money, y'all. He's talking about he needs another week. They tell him you got 48 hours. And he's, cussing them out. And then he's like, look, I'm sorry or whatever. He's trying to, make up. But it's too late for that. You're pretty much done for. Everything that you got or you had is gone. And he gets a page from Top Notch about some intel. And he goes to meet up with him. Top Notch tells him like, look, man, I'm tired of looking for Veronique. I am done. I cannot find her. And Franklin is pissed off. Like, really? You called me out here just to tell me that? But he's like, nah, I got what you was looking for. So he gets the intel about your boy Peaches. And we've been talking about this for months and months and months, that it was rumors out there about Peaches returning. And apparently Peaches didn't go that far away. I mean, that was just a strategy to lead people off of him or whatever. But he's only 25 miles away. He's in there laid out. Franklin goes into the house and he confronts Peaches. And Peaches, he was, laughing at first, like, oh, Franklin Saint, you here and stuff like that. But y'all know Peaches, man. Even though he's a junkie, he got that strap on him. Franklin tells him, like, look, man, I hope you got some of that $5 million that you had or that you took from me. Where is it? Peaches is like, yeah, I got something, you know what I'm saying? It's in a safe in the back. And as soon as Peaches is getting up, you see that look on his face like he was about to try something. And he tried to shoot Franklin. Luckily, Franklin had that strap on him and he was able to drop Peaches off quickly. And man, your boy Peaches is up out of here. I hope that ends all the questions about Peaches, still being around or if he's going to pop up. Well, he popped up and he got dropped off. We smoking on that Peaches pack in the series finale. Now, Franklin goes to the safe and he's pissed off because he can't get in it, y'all. I mean, he's trying everything, in his power to open up this safe. He was looking at documents. He was doing, all types of stuff. So he decides to call a company to come out and, help him open this safe. And I'm thinking like, okay, maybe he's actually going to get something. But then again, we talking about Franklin. It ain't going to end the way he's probably thinking it's going to end. Now he gets this Miguel guy. He comes there and this dude, he seems cool. He's all happy to get up in there. And he made the job seem easy as far as getting in the safe. Now, while he's doing his job, all of a sudden, this junkie pops up out of nowhere like a walker from The Walking Dead. Like, really, where the hell did you come from? And Franklin is upset like, man, like, dude, you messing up my money. So Franklin has to drop him off. Your boy Miguel, he is scared. And Franklin tells him, look, man, if you want to live, just open up the safe. He opens up the safe. Franklin is just looking. And I'm looking like, man, it can't be nothing in there. This dude Peaches is straight up lying. He gets Miguel to count the cash. And I believe it was like around 12,000. And Franklin is just looking and he's just laughing like, really? That's it? 12 G's. That's all that was up in there. I mean, Peaches is a junkie. You already know he ain't about to have nothing up in there. He tells Miguel like, look, put it in your pocket. Because Miguel was scared that he's going to lose his life, talking about how he has a family, he needs to go back home and stuff like that. And for a moment, it seemed like Miguel was about to get up out of there, y'all. Good. But y'all know Franklin, he's like, look, no loose ends. And he's out of his mind at that. He dropped Miguel straight off. I felt bad for the dude because he was really trying to help Franklin out. He was just doing his job, but apparently he ran into the wrong person on the wrong day. Now, we get to Tony Moreno. And as I thought, he did not die. He is still, looking for Aunt Louie. He ain't playing around. The DEA, they are all over her back. And it seems like these people, they're actually looking out for Louie. Or should I say, Carla Huggins, right? And they tell, the DEA, like, look, she was here, for a few months or whatever. She was working, then she got up out of here. But we can see Louie, she's in the back. And we know she's shook. And we know she's like, man, I got to figure out a way to deal with the DEA because they're not going to stop. I can't wait to see the spinoff because I want to know what's going to happen with Aunt Louie and also what's going to happen with your boy Gustavo. And I thought that a few episodes back that was going to be the last of Gustavo, but no, they show us a little bit more of his character, which lets me know, and this is just my opinion, I believe with them showing us this, he may pop up in the spinoff as well. And also the part where they showed us Aunt Louie and Gustavo, that is 2 years later. So it's 2 years later after the last time we saw Franklin Saint. Now, Gustavo was listening to that answering service voicemail that he gave Shamara the number to a few episodes back. Remember that he gave her like that number where she can call and let him know that she's good. She tells him like, look, they, miss him and she's living in North Carolina and she still wants to see him. Now, do you guys believe this is a good idea for Gustavo to go visit her? I believe if he does go, I believe it's going to be a high risk of him being caught up with the DEA. So he definitely has to think about his decisions. But we know those kids and that family is his weakness. So we're going to see if that's going to be the case if they do decide to put him in the spinoff, which I believe they're going to do so by showing us that scene with him. Now we get to the end of the episode and it ends off exactly where this series first started in that very first episode. And it's 1 year later, Leon has come back from Africa once again, and now he wants to go and have a conversation with his boy Franklin to check up on him, really just to look out for him and help him out. Now he gets there, he understands that the property tax ain't being getting paid and that it's just a matter of time before the city comes in and takes everything. Now at first Franklin wasn't going to answer the door, but once he knew it was Leon, he decided to open it up, and then we see what Franklin has become, y'all. And this man is a bum. He's living in this house. It's just crazy. He's become his pops. He's, a damn drunk. He's a bum. You can see the drink in his hand. And it's sad to see him like this, especially on how this series started, to see where Franklin was at and to see how his journey has ended. And Leon is looking at him like, man, you know what I'm saying? He can't even believe it. We're seeing the house one final time, and they end up leaving, having one last little walkthrough of the neighborhood. Franklin gives Leon a new nickname of Yo-Yo because he went to Africa, he came back, he went again, and he came back again. He said that's better than Little Lee. Now Franklin is talking about how he got into it with a couple guys that tried to jack him, but he got the best of them. And he's talking about that's why Sissy let him stay at the house. And he ends up joking about Wanda, talking about did she ever leave him and did she go back to her first love. And even though I didn't want to see Franklin go out like this, Damson is doing a hell of a job playing this character, man. He is killing it, especially in these last few little scenes that we saw him in. And Leon is looking at him like, man, I can't believe this dude is really, like this now. And he wants to help him out. Now they end up walking through the street, and then we see Boys in the Hood being filmed. We can see John Singleton, we can see Doughboy, Ricky, and I believe Trey as well. I know a lot of people was wondering if he's going to see something about John Singleton in this episode, so I'm glad that they put this in there. We know Leon does tell Franklin that Wanda is trying to get into the music business, and Franklin tells him that Veronique, she played him. She did end up, talking to him, and she told him that he had a son and that his son is going to be good, he's going to be in the best schools, and most likely he's going to be out of the country. And Franklin, he's just laughing like, man, I want to see my son. He's like, look, a chocolate guy like me can't keep a girl at all. So, I mean, they did have some, some good times out there laughing, for their final little scene. But we know Franklin, what I'm saying? This man is a drunk and he wants that liquor in his system. They go to the store, and man, this scene right here, it just reminds me of a lot of people I've seen growing up. They ask you for money, family members, people that you know in the hood, and they just need to get that fix. They need that drink. They take your money and they be like, what you want? You want something? You know what I'm saying? And this is exactly what happened with Franklin and Leon. Leon is trying to talk to him about him, opening up, a free clinic. He's trying to help his people out. He explains that the whole land bias thing was worse than he thought. And, he just wants to, help the people that needs that help. And he wants Franklin to maybe come, and give him a hand, right? Now, Franklin, he ain't trying to hear any of that. He just wants some money for that drink. And you can see the look in Leon's face. He's just disappointed, like, man, you know what I'm saying? This dude, he's done for. It's nothing that he can do, but just hope for the best. Now, Franklin does tell Leon that the CIA, they was listening to him for a while, but he decided to call them and tell them, look, if they don't want him to say anything about them, to just leave him alone. And he said that's exactly what they end up doing. Now, as they're walking back to the house, we can see the boys, they're there, and they talking about they got a warrant for seizure and non-payment of back taxes. And Franklin is like, man, they done took everything, so it is what it is. We know Leon, he wants to help him out, talking about he will pay off the taxes and clean up the spot. But Franklin, he's like, look, he does not have any chains on him and that he is free. He's going to go out his way, not their way, not, Leon's way. And, it is what it is. And in a very emotional and sad final scene, Franklin tells Leon, like, look, you are my best friend, the best friend that I ever had, and that he's proud of him. And man, this was sad. I ain't even gonna lie to you guys. I mean, just to see how it all ended, and you can just feel the emotion from both of them. And y'all can tell Leon, he didn't want to see Franklin go out like this, but Franklin tells him that he's good, and he walks away. And Leon, he yells Saint before the episode ends out, but Franklin, he just kept walking. But as I told y'all, I mean, I'm glad that Leon was able to survive. He is good as far as his health, and it seems like his storyline is solid. But to see Franklin go out like this, it was sad. I wanted to see him, go out differently, but I also didn't want to, see an episode where I can predict the ending, which we all know is whether go to prison or end up getting killed off. But the parallels between him and his pops, it makes a lot of sense on how, this story ended for Franklin. We just saw a new version of that, something that he probably didn't think will happen, but it did. Like I told you guys, go back to that first episode and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. They end up playing that Kendrick Lamar Pride, which is the perfect song for your boy Franklin in the ending of his journey. But at least your boy Teddy ain't here no more. I told y'all, I don't care how it ends, as long as Teddy is up out of here, which, he is, in a lot of other characters that was pissing me off. But I'm very excited for the spinoff. I want to know what's going to happen next. I believe we will see more about that in the future. As I told you guys, don't be surprised if they give us some more information within the next upcoming weeks. But man, this has been a hell of a journey. Reviewing Snowfall for all these years, y'all always been showing me that support and love, and we will continue to talk about Snowfall. Of course, it's still some storylines that we have to discuss. We still got some remembering videos that I got to do, in the aftermath video, and what can happen in the spinoff. And we know once the episode ended, they showed the 4 John once again, just showing like, look, we put a lot of love and respect to the late great John Singleton. This was his, his vision, and I'm glad that they ended it the way they did. I believe he will be happy on how they ended this show, and I'm very eager to see what's going to happen in the future. But I want to thank you guys once again for all the love, all the support, and I will catch y'all on the next one. But let me get up on out of here, man. It's your boy Mark Dark. I'm out. Peace.